hope you guys are doing well. What I have for you today is, yes, another video on the Google Pixel 8 Pro. It's been a couple weeks since I've made my last video, but what I'm going to be doing here is actually giving you a full review of the Pixel 8 Pro and what I've thought about it ever since I purchased the device. Now, I've been using this for a little over 2 months. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, just to recap, as far as the specs are concerned, you have a Super Actua 6.7-inch LTPO OLED display with a resolution of 1344 by 2992 at 489 pixels per inch, or PPI, with an aspect ratio of 20 by 9 at 120 Hz. The rear-facing camera, as you can see, there are 3 lenses on the back. It features a 50 megapixel octa-wide camera, a 48 megapixel quad ultra-wide camera with autofocus, and a 48 megapixel quad telephoto camera. Over here is the front-facing camera, which it's nothing fancy, it's just a 10.5 megapixel selfie camera. This features Google's Tensor G3 processor along with a Titan M2 security coprocessor with 12 gigs of RAM, and you have 4 storage options. What I have here is the 128 gigabyte configuration. That's the lowest storage capacity that you can get. Otherwise, there's options for 256 gigabytes, 512 gigabytes, and 1 terabyte. It's got Wi-Fi 7 built in, which is 802.11be, Bluetooth version 5.3 with a 5050 milliamp hour battery. Now, let's take a look around the phone itself. So let me go ahead and lock it up. Obviously, on the front, you have the screen itself, but also a front-facing camera like we saw earlier. And if you look at the very top over here, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a little strip right there, or like a little hole. That's actually the speaker earpiece for when you hold the phone up to your ear to take your phone call. That's pretty much what it was. Just know that it's right there. I didn't catch this in my unboxing video, but just note that if you are wondering when you're using this phone, like where you're getting the sound from, it's from the very top. Now, if we look on the left side right here, you don't have anything except for your SIM card slot. And basically, if you need to pop a SIM card in here, you would just take like your SIM ejection tool, or in this case, I just got a paper clip. You put it in there. Well, apparently that paper clip I have was too big for the hole. Never seen that before, which is interesting. But you basically take your SIM ejection tool, stick it in there, and your SIM card pops out. And that's basically what it looks like right there. And this is the back of the SIM card slot itself. And as you can see, I don't have a SIM card in there, but that's because when I got this phone, T-Mobile activated it for me to use with eSIM. For those of you that aren't aware, it stands for electronic SIM. So basically, it's like your SIM card, but not a physical SIM card. It's basically a SIM that I had to add within the settings itself to use with my current phone number, and I can save that SIM card slot for when, if I'm traveling abroad or something, I can pop in a SIM card, use the local carrier over there. Otherwise, if they support eSIM, I have the ability to add another eSIM on this phone as well. Now, if we look at the top of the phone, nothing much here, just one of your microphones up here. On the right side of the device, you have your sleep-wake button along with your volume buttons. On the bottom, you have your USB-C port along with your speaker or your microphone. And then, of course, the back, you've already seen it, but let me do another walkthrough. Obviously, you got your 3 camera lenses, your LED flash, but this is also a thermometer right here for when you need to measure the temperature of something. You basically just hold your phone up to it like so, and then measure the temperature of whatever object you're needing to check that on. Size-wise, this phone is not that much bigger compared to the previous phone that I was using on a daily basis, which was a Samsung Galaxy Note 8. I've been used to that size for a while, and I would say it was pretty big, but this one didn't feel that much bigger. Maybe just slightly. but not a whole lot. Now, what's the call quality like? Because obviously this thing's going to be used for making phone calls whenever you need to. Call quality is great. I didn't have any issues hearing the other person, and they didn't have any issues hearing me. So call quality is fantastic. For certain carriers, if they feature Wi-Fi calling, that should help as well. I definitely have that feature since I'm with T-Mobile. Now, there is an interesting note that I wanted to make when it comes to charging your phone. Phones are being made these days where they can support fast charging. But the way to achieve fast charging is if you're using certain chargers that are specialized for that, especially if you get one from the manufacturer itself. For instance, when I got the Google Pixel 8 Pro, all I got was a USB-C to USB-C cable. It did not come with a power adapter. Most phones, I believe now, do not come with those, if not all of them. Basically, when I was charging my phone for the first time, I was using my stock charger that came with my Samsung Galaxy Note 8. When I use my stock Note 8 charger that is made for adaptive fast charging, but not for off-branded devices like this one. When I say off-brand, I mean like non-Samsung products, because that one was made specifically for Samsung. I used that one for this phone, and I want to say when I got the phone, there was still some battery life left, maybe like 40%. And when I dropped it down to 30%, that's when I started charging with that charger. And it took, I want to say, I didn't keep track of the whole time because it was getting so late at night that I needed to go to bed. But by the time I went to bed, I left it on the charger for 4 hours and it wasn't even at 100% battery life yet. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're using like a charger that doesn't support adaptive fast charging. Because of the huge battery in this thing, you're going to be letting it sit on the charger for a while. Otherwise, my case, what I did was I went to a local Best Buy and I bought this. Yep, had to buy this separately for 37 bucks. That's all you get. Yep, I went and bought one of those, and by the time I started using one of those, it started charging a lot faster, and I didn't need to let it sit on the charger for a while. Google claims it can charge up to 50% in 30 minutes with their fast charger. Me, I plug my phone in when it's around like 30%, and if I let it sit for, I'd say about an hour, it'll reach like almost 100%, so pretty nice. But if you want to achieve that adaptive fast charging, and if you don't have it, just keep in mind you will have to go buy it. Otherwise, be prepared to let your phone stay on the charger for a while if you needed to go from 0 to 100%. Currently, this phone is running Android version 14. The performance of this phone is pretty quick. Now, I have noticed maybe once in a while some lags and slowdowns here and there, but nothing major compared to what I was used to on my Note 8 as it started aging. I'm sure this thing will probably get slower, as typical nature of electronics, they tend to get slower as the years go by, but otherwise it is blazing quick, buttery smooth, no problem. One thing that requires a smartphone to be reliable in my book is battery life, and I'm happy to report that battery life on the Google Pixel 8 Pro is fantastic. So the way I use my phone is basically if I'm too busy to look at my phone every day due to work, I'm like hardly using it. Otherwise, whenever I get a chance, I'll take a look here and there. When my phone gets up to 30%, that's when I throw it on the charger and bring it up to 100%. And then when it's at 100%, I unplug it and I turn the phone off completely. And that's by holding the sleep wake button and the volume up button at the same time, and I hit power off. That's only when I'm going to bed for the night. Then I'll turn it back on the next day, and I noticed that I don't have to charge my phone again until maybe 3 days later. Now, sometimes I can do 4 and get away with that. It just depends on my usage. If I'm not like using my phone at all one day, I just keep it on for whenever I get a notification or something. I'll browse the web, check email, look at social media, and I'm able to not having to charge my phone as often as I did with my Galaxy Note 8. Now, Google claims you can get 24-hour plus battery life. And I would say they're pretty correct on that, but it depends on how you're using your phone too. Otherwise, you can get up to 72 hours with extreme battery saver according to Google. So you might be wondering, how much does this phone cost? I will give you a heads up in case you haven't checked the pricing yet on Google's website. It is not cheap. I got the Pixel 8 Pro, but they also have a cheaper model. It's smaller too. It's just a regular Pixel 8, but it's just as good. You just have like a smaller screen. You can get this in 4 different colors. You can get the color Bay, which is what I have here on the back, which is basically like a baby blue or a light blue color. The second color is Obsidian, that's black. Porcelain, which I believe that's like Apple's Starlight color, similar to that one. They also just released a mint color, or they call it mint, which is basically like a light green color on the back. As far as how much each configuration is, if you get the 128GB model, that's $999. There's also 256GB for $1,059, but you can't get that capacity with the mint color. The mint color, you can get it with just 128GB. Otherwise, you can also get 512GB for $1,179, but not with the mint color. You can get 1TB for $13.99, but you can only get that with the color Obsidian, which is the black one. So when you're thinking about what color phone you want to get, also think about the capacity too, because depending on what you want, you may not be able to get your desired device in your desired configuration, depending on what you're looking for. So that's all the info I have about the Google Pixel 8 Pro, as well as expressing some of my experience. Let's get into why I decided to get this specific phone, the Google Pixel 8 Pro. So as I mentioned earlier, I was previously using a Samsung Galaxy Note 8. I got that brand new back in 2017. That's over 5 years now, maybe coming up on 6. I really like that phone, and I still have it now, and it's actually what I'm using to record this video with. I started having some issues with it as it started aging, and because I didn't get a new phone for a while, I decided, okay, it's due for me to get a new device, but instead of going with Samsung, let's go with Google, basically to experience the stock Android experience compared to using Android with a third-party skin, because obviously Android devices can be made by multiple manufacturers. Google's one of them. There's Samsung, Motorola, OnePlus, Huawei, all these different manufacturers that put their own skin. Some of them will put stock Android. Otherwise, Samsung, they like to add their own customization to it, One UI. And basically, I wanted to see how Google wanted or intends their users to use Android without all these third-party skins that are putting all these bloatware softwares that I don't even use. And I will say, using stock Android is an awesome experience, and I definitely prefer it over Samsung. Samsung's not bad. I still like their products. I just haven't used all the apps that they have pre-installed on the device. So they just basically sit there doing nothing and not being used. And I wanted something that was more reliable for long-term updates. Google claims that you will get 7 years of security updates with this phone. With this lead, hopefully Google is able to encourage these manufacturers to support that long of updates as well, or that Google can help the other manufacturers support this long of security updates too, because without these long-term security updates, you have multiple Android devices out there that wind up becoming a security issue, and they don't last as long because you end up using outdated software. And I've been using an outdated OS for a while, up until I got the Pixel 8 Pro. I could have gotten a Samsung Galaxy device with the newest Android version running on it, but then I would still have the third-party skin full of apps that I'm not going to even use. So I ended up going with a stock Android device. And hey, what better way to go to stock Android than to get a phone from the manufacturer itself? Other than that, I was due for an upgrade too. So I figured, all right, let's get this one, try something new. Because my last 2 Android phones, I've been using Samsung. They've been a great experience. Now I'm trying stock Android. It's kind of like Apple keeping iOS strictly to themselves so that they control the software and everything and make the OS the way they intend their users to use it, just like Google in this case with stock Android. I am really looking forward to the future of Android to see what Google has up next with their future generation of Android updates. If you guys are looking to shop for an Android phone, but you're not sure if the Google Pixel 8 or the Pixel 8 Pro should be something to add to your list to consider, I'd say definitely add it onto your list because it's definitely a great device. And if you don't need a large screen like I have here on the Pixel 8 Pro, then the regular Pixel 8 will be completely fine. I mean, all you're getting with the Pixel 8 Pro is not only a bigger screen, but also a better camera setup as well. Otherwise, the regular Pixel 8, I don't think it's that far off. So I hope this review helps you out as far as considering the Pixel 8 or the Pixel 8 Pro. What do you guys think about this phone? Do you like it? Hate it? Do you have one? Go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Feel free to share your opinions. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys like this video, please be sure to hit that like button down below, as well as the subscribe button to see more videos from me, but also hit the bell notification so you get notified when I post a new video and you're not missing out. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you and have a good day.